Okay, then this is Ramón García. He is the head of the LARSO. Some of us are old enough to be there. Only some of you, I'm sure. Here's, microphone is yours.
Thank you. Thank you for having me here today. I'm happy to spend some time with you guys, with this group. We're very influential people in Los Alamos, as I understand it. I ask them questions around town, and they tell me this is the group that you want to be talking to all the time. So it may not be the last time you talk to me. It may be the last time I come up and speak, depending on, my message today. But I'll for sure be looking after each one of you. So I really want to give some information about the remodel. I know everybody has questions about that. But before that, I want to just give you a general take on what I believe LARSO is. I want to emphasize what I believe LARSO is because I haven't had yet the opportunity to shape it into what I would like it to be. That's going to be informed by the community. We still have some pieces of operations to put in place for us to be at ease and start doing some of that meaningful work that will bring services at the senior center to a higher level of quality and hopefully to greater impact for everybody here in Los Alamos. So first, you may know that the senior center has lunches, that we serve lunches, right? All of us know that probably. Is anybody here surprised that we provide transportation off the hill, meaning Santa Fe or Española or even Albuquerque? Anybody surprised about that? No? So everybody knows that. That's good. That's another thing that we do very well. How many people do you believe we serve in a homebound setting, meaning that they can't leave their home for whatever reason? How many people would you care to guess? 400, you say? It's closer. It's less than that. We are serving 175 households, and it's more around 200 folks. But it is quite a bit. They do get lunch from us every day. Also through the weekend, we send them with a nice frozen meal that they can heat. That frozen meal is not something we buy in the store. We prepare for them, and we freeze it, and then they get it through the weekend and also in the afternoons. So people who are homebound, they're getting 2 meals from us through the week and then 1 meal over the weekend. It's quite an impact, I think, that we're having with those folks. Does anybody care to guess how many social programs we have? Social programs, meaning social connections, where you can go, sit with people, hang out, maybe play games, or have a discussion about life or investment. Well, we have 26 programs currently. We are serving 800 folks a month, 800 individuals, and I think it's quite an impact since we have about 3,000 people who are 65 and over in the county itself. So we're serving about a third of the seniors in Los Alamos, here in Los Alamos, obviously, and in White Rock as well. So we don't realize the depth of services that we provide at LARSO. It's a senior center. People go eat lunch, they hang out. We have nice activities for them. But behind all that is the meaning of it. And the meaning of it is aging well. We call it positive living at LARSO. That's our mission, is to promote positive living. What does that really mean? Positive living means having connections with people, being engaged in the community, having resources, and feeling like you're still adequate to make your own decisions about your own life, right? Some people call that aging with dignity. We try to promote that as much. We encourage folks through our programs to keep that independence and dignity, through connections with the community, whether it be friends, their peers, other younger generations, or even just the system set in place here in Los Alamos, which we have, social services through the county, and we have the hospitals, we have clinics, we have other nonprofits in town that we'd like to get our seniors connected to, so that they feel that they can still continue to live at home independently and being masters of their own life. That's ultimately what we want to achieve. We work really hard at LARSO to make sure we deliver quality. I have to admit, lately, it hasn't been the case so much. We've had a few bumps on the road of transition. As you know, Betty Ehart is going through major renovation. And it's going to give us, at the end of the renovation, it's going to give us a much more place to be, to connect, to socialize, and to continue promoting the positive living. But in the transition to the scatter site model, I call it, because we are in 4 places currently, so we're kind of scattered. I'm the scatter brain. The LARSO is a scatter site, still holding it together, thanks to the wonderful staff that we have at your service, at the service of our community. But the renovation, although there's a lot of improvements that are going to happen, and I'm not going to dig into it because we have an expert amongst our midst, and I don't want to get into the if this is this or that about it. But I think it's important to acknowledge that the work that's going to be done there is not just to have a nice building, right? It's to make sure that we preserve community living. That's ultimately what this is all about. This renovation is taking us through, some trials, but our ultimate goal is to preserve community, and that's what we're doing with the scatter site. The county and all of our partners in the community decided that beyond the importance of a nice building, preserving services was above everything. We cannot suspend services because we don't have a building. We're not a building. We're a group of people just trying to get along, get together, age well, live life to the best of our ability, and connect it to the people that we care about. Did you raise your hand for a question? No? All right. That's okay. If you have a question, feel free to interrupt me anytime. I am quite lengthy when I give answers, so if you're willing to put up with my long answers, we'll be here a little bit longer than suspected. Yes? All right, she wants to know how many staff members we have. We have 23 people. We are hiring 2 more drivers. I think we're short 2 drivers, but we have 23 strong souls that help us out every day, definitely. I want to highlight the partnerships here. And I will call her name out, Sobia from the county. Thank you, Sobia. We started worshiping a little bit of the ground that you walk in, mostly because that'll lead us where you are, so we can ask you more questions. And you've been a champion for us. I appreciate all the hard work that you put in. Being a project manager is hard enough without having to deal with, our wishes and desires that may change between the morning and the afternoon. And so you've dealt that with good candor. I appreciate your energy towards LARSO, but beyond that, I appreciate you prioritizing the well-being of our seniors. It says a lot about the county's position in services for our senior members. So I appreciate everything that you've done, and you continue doing, because we continue to work on this, whatever experiment we're doing until we settled. I hope that when this is over and renovations are done and we say we're going back to our building, we can be just as smooth as it has been till now. Take it for whatever that means to you. In my point of view, it has been good. We also want to acknowledge the YMCA, the family YMCA. We talked to George, who's the operations manager at the youth center, but also belongs to, is part of the YMCA core. Very flexible in making sure that our members still enjoy the gym facilities that they had at Betty Hart, so that they have a reserved time. I think it's from 10 to 1 o'clock. Anybody who's a member of the senior center can go to the YMCA. They'll get a room. You just have to scan your membership card at the at the LARSO kiosk, and then scan it once more at the YMCA kiosk, and you're good to go. Any member of the senior center should not pay any fees while we are there in transition, if you want to use it that way. They're also hosting some of our yoga classes there. You know, they're loving the space, and, you know, some of the floors have a little cushion. I understand this is really good for them. So it's working out so far. The YMCA is a very strong partner, always showing up when it's needed. Again, in that effort of making sure that our older adults in the county, or here in Los Alamos at least, remain connected, not only to the activity they love to do, but also to each other and to the friendships they've been able to maintain and develop through the years. An acknowledgement also goes to the library. They have made a tremendous exception for us, because we're occupying some of their spaces for things like our book club, some of our more mellow activities where it's more of a conversation program. But the library has a policy that, you know, things are open to anybody and everybody. Anything happening at the library should be open to everybody. Well, they conceded us some private spaces where we don't have to share the space if we don't want to. It's always up to the group that's there, right? We don't impose privacy in any of our programs. But if that facilitator who's conducting that group feels like in the best interest of the program privacy is needed, they're allowed to make that decision there at the library. And we're thankful as well for the library being so flexible and accommodating to us in that capacity. We're in partnership also with Los Alamos Assisted Living right out of town. They have a beautiful facility where they're helping us host most of our arts and crafts programs, because they have floors that can be cleaned, and they have tables that are appropriate for art making, right? It's a very appropriate space for that kind of thing. They have a huge classroom where, you know, you can set up your arts, everything is kept safe. And so they've also been very accommodating and flexible, and we gave them a list of programs and schedules, and all they said, when do we start? So we're happy about that partnership as well. As a matter of fact, my board meeting right after this will be at Los Alamos Assisted Living at their chapel. I don't know, I believe in signs. That might be a good sign or a bad sign, I guess, depending on where you stand. But we're thankful for that. And, you know, through the county, and I'm thankful for the county administration, but the folks at Fuller Lodge have also been really accommodating and dealing with we thought it was going to be A, but it turns out to be A to the nth power or something. I don't know, something's totally different. So they listen to us, they listen to our needs, and they're always, you know, what can we do to make sure that services are being provided in the way they need to be provided. And so I really appreciate their flexibility. Yvonne has been a really good facilitator of communication for me anyway. And we have filled up the throne room upstairs. If you're not familiar with the lodge, it's upstairs right overseeing the great room. The throne room is now filled with computers and tables, a freezer, table settings, plates. We have some silverware there. I saw lettuce that was going bad, so I just threw it this morning. But there's a lot of things going on in the throne room. And a couple of our members actually were kind enough to lend us some of their AC units that they feel they don't need anymore. And so we put him in that space, and it's cool. And I feel like for the staff that gets to be in that room, which at times could be up to 15 people at a time, they're getting to know each other a little bit better, and making stronger friendships or more professional relationships, whatever the case may be. But it has been good. Our day out program started yesterday, and I got good feedback from our coordinator. She said it's going better than what I expected. Now, I didn't ask her what she expected, but better than when somebody expects is always good, So I spent some time there this morning. I saw the layout of the place, and it's welcoming. It is really ample space. We have what we need to serve the folks there a day out, and I think we're doing an adequate job while not being at our beautiful facility down at Betty Hart, which is beautiful. Now I miss it more than ever, I think. Hopefully that changes over time. But I feel really proud of the fact that we have not suspended any services except for day out last week for a few days because, we had to move quite a few things into that room. But aside from that, we've upkept the home delivered meals. We have kept with lunches. We have kept up with all programming. We have not canceled any programs. And we have just kept things in the same schedules as much as we could so that folks who are used to that routine, didn't just had to find the place, not necessarily think about the time and the hour or the location. They would just have to focus on Fuller Lodge. I go where at the time that I always go. So I think it's been working out really wonderfully. The response from the community deserves a lot of recognition. And again, I think beyond the partnership with LARSO lies that enthusiasm and energy to make sure that our older adult population is served to the fullest of our ability altogether. And so the community is showing the great appreciation they have for our older adult population. It's always been about making sure that they are served properly. So this is sort of like the state of where things are now is we are in full motion with services. I laugh a little bit because, I worked in kitchens before in another lifetime of mine. And I'm sure many of us have experienced those times where you feel like you can conquer the world after you graduate, but you have to wash dishes somewhere to just survive, right? So I was fortunate enough to have some kitchen experience, a couple of years there, here and there, in other jobs, serving youth. I was, on occasion, I would just go for fun into the kitchen and cook with the kids and do things like that. So although I have some experience in the kitchen, I'm not, my ability is not as, you would say Steven or chef or even our line cooks at any level. But, I had to get in there because we were short-staffed. On Friday, we had the 31st birthday celebration for White Rock. In White Rock facility, we had 100 people attend. It was awesome. It was a big ask from the kitchen being managed by me. But the four of us, there was 3 kitchen staff and myself, we pulled it together. I think we did very well. We were about 45 minutes late for service up here in Los Alamos. And people were very candid about, keeping their complaints and just talking about it. But I was able to talk to some folks, and even our members are really understanding of what's happening, where we're all at, and really what is important is to make sure that we, keep one foot in front of the other and keep smoothing out processes. Yesterday we served on time, and today we're serving on time too, so we're getting better. I think as long as I stay away from the kitchen, things are going to be okay, really. Although, if I have to go in there and chop some tomatoes, which I did, hopefully nobody ate my nail from the other day. Um, I'm willing to go and do whatever prep work we need to do. As I have been, and again, not for pride of organization, even though I am very proud of my organization and the staff that works with me. It is more to make sure that that positive living element exists and it doesn't dilute because we're in a different place. We are about the people. We are a group of people, like I said, just trying to get through life together and have some good experiences. And we want to maintain that spirit. And the building and loading up a hot bed or a hot truck with food and stuff like it shouldn't stop. It shouldn't be an issue for us to stop connecting with each other. What's important is that connection that remains. So what I see when I walk through the dining hall and I see people eating, I don't see people just looking at their plate and eating. I see them connecting. It's a connection. Behind every plate we serve is a connection. That's what I share with my staff. Beyond of the tangible things that we can do for somebody, like providing a ride down to Santa Fe for a dentist appointment that's going to take the whole day there, right? Beyond that one service is that fulfillment of your life, that you got to do something that was important for you. Maintaining your health, connecting with people, really maintaining that engagement. I talk to our members often. Most of them will tell me what matters is that we stay active. And so if we can be a group of people that helps each other do that, that's where we want to be. Really finding those niches. Maybe somebody likes to play dominoes. Some other folks like to have like a 2-hour conversation about investment, which I attempted to go to, and 10 minutes later I was making up a meeting that I had to go to so that I could leave. But everybody has their own niche in here, and we don't want to determine exactly what programs are going to be there. We are senior led. That's something that I am embedding in our philosophy of work. What senior led means is that if a group of members comes up and says, we'd like to have a program like this, well, let's make it happen because this is what we're all about. We're not here designing programs, from scientific studies or anything like that, even though those could work. Nothing to impose on the community. A senior has lived their life long enough to know what they like, what they don't like, and we honor that, and we want to make sure they feel, again, like they're masters of their decisions. So if they have good suggestions, we're willing to work and make sure that we get together the resources to pull those programs together. If they're bad suggestions, we'll just have a longer conversation for a longer period of time of that. But what I want you guys to really take away from what I'm trying to say is that we care about the community itself. And Betty, hard building is so important because it's comfortable and everybody likes comfort and predictability. But beyond that, it's maintaining those connections together like we have been. We are a community. We're not a building, right? So we should be able to go anywhere and do the same thing and connect the same way and care about the same things. And that's what we're trying to do here for the next, I'm going to say a year, hopefully. Really, the project is supposed to be 8 months. I always prepare for longer because, at least emotionally, I'll be okay. And so we're thinking we'll be there through May in our scatter site. I don't foresee any major changes going on in our scatter site, but we will have to adjust if things we're in people's spaces. So if they need our space and we need to be out of there by November or January, we'll adjust and make sure that we do the right thing. Again, in the spirit of making sure people have a place to gather and do what they like to do. The building at this moment is like the second thought. We'll let the construction people worry about that. We'll let Sobia also be very worried about that, because those will be the questions. If something doesn't work, there's a switch that is not quite where it's supposed to be. But we'll worry about that when the time comes. for now, I'm in good spirits in spite of all the daily mishaps and daily barriers that we faced. I think that we're in a good path to maintaining good, predictable services during the times that our members need it. So White Rock is really enjoying some new visitors from Los Alamos. We expected to have a few, and I think those few are showing up like we expected. So we're serving more meals down at White Rock, less meals up here. But it is a blessing to have both sites, and that we have the availability in the two cities or towns where people can just go gather and have fun. I am really looking forward to another piece of chocolate cake. I've been at White Rock early in the morning these last 3 days, Monday, Tuesday, and yesterday. And there was birthdays here and there, and so they take cake, and early in the morning, I was thankful one of our front desk volunteers told me, my rule is no cake before 10. I was like, that's a good rule to have. But obviously rules are also meant to be broken. So we're eating cake. It's quite charming. It's not doing anything for the diet that I'm trying to hold up. But I always say, if you feed your soul well enough, your body, can deal with it, whatever it is. Do you guys have any questions that you want to ask about the senior center, about the services, or even about me? Yes. Microphone. Yeah.
So this is more of a comment, Ramon. I was at at Fuller Lodge on Friday, and things were running a little late. But I think that your attitude, your positive attitude, is wearing off on people, because there was nobody complaining. There were people had pushed themselves into seats in the hallway, and there were great conversations going on. And so it's a great time to get a feel for how this transition is going with all of these people. So I asked a lot of people how they felt about it, and I didn't hear any negative comments, so the candid part was that a few people at one table said to me, do they think that we're not used to change? Do you know at our age how much change we've been through? So this is not going to faze us. And I really want to compliment you. Your talk was so full of positivity. And I think that everybody would agree that everything has been done to make this successful. So it's not a question, but I guess I can ask you, how do you stay so positive all the time? I need some of that right now. So.
Well, it's a tough question to answer, and thank you for your comments. I do see that in our members, their own positivity and their support to our staff and their understanding. And that makes it a lot easier for me to go and navigate through these little things that happen. And how do I stay positive is because I understand working with people, that's what you get. There's a lot of things that may happen wrong or they might be negative, but ultimately the community supports you. I think if you hang on to the negative things for too long, then that's what you become. What I do is I always hang on to the positive things, and I have a lot of people that are supportive. I mentioned the county and our other community partners, but the members and just people on the street that stop you and say, you're the guy with the tie from LARSO. Yes, I am. And some of our members even say, it's not Los Alamos, but I guess I'll accept it. It's like, well, it's like wearing tennis shoes for me. It makes me comfortable. But, I think just living in community for me is what the reward is, and understanding that if I'm the one putting out a negative feeling and a negative message, that everything else follows as well. So thank you for your comment again. I appreciate it.
Okay, I'm going to ask one question, and then I will get to you two. In so many words, how is the White Rock Senior Center different from Betty Earhart?
Well, I would say not really different. We have a facilities coordinator down there that makes sure people are in the spaces they should be at the times they should be according to the program schedules. The kitchen runs. It's not really different in the, I guess, in the operations side from my perspective. Although people seem to be a little livelier around I call it the living room, which is, some couches, stuff like that, because it's a smaller space. People tend to just have longer conversations, and what you would see at Betty E. Hart, it's so much space that, people would have their assigned, like, seating with their friends and here and there. But I would say in the essence, it's not really different from what you would get up here at Betty, except that maybe at Betty you will see me more often because that's where my office is, or was. Yeah. Yeah.
I actually get the emails about volunteer opportunities and that sort of thing. I'm only a sub at the front desk, which doesn't exist at the moment. But I noticed that you need more volunteers. And where are the different places that volunteers can help?
Okay, thank you. So you want to know where volunteers can help and where are the volunteer opportunities? We can use front desk volunteers in White Rock. It's another need that we have. Lunch service in White Rock and also in Los Alamos, a Fuller Lodge. Now I have to correct myself all the time. A Fuller Lodge, we also need some volunteer. We have some special events coming up. The Festival of Trees is coming together. I don't know if you guys are familiar with that, but it was a big ask from our community. So we're trying to get the Festival of Trees coming up. I think that's in November the 14th, which we're going to hold it. So we'll need people to help us recruit some vendors and do some legwork for us as well. Our newsletter goes through a production, process. So we need volunteers for that coming up in the last week, next week. Next week, putting the newsletter together and ready to distribute it. Yes, that's another volunteer opportunity. We also need volunteers to help with in kitchen duties, more like washing dishes and wiping down stuff and things like that. Some extra hands there, minding the salad bar, things like that. So lunch is our priority. Now the big ask that we're going out in the community is for our day out program. One of our staff members is going on vacation between August 21st, and September 21st, I think, a whole month. And so we need people who can volunteer between 1:30 and 3 o'clock in the afternoon. If you feel like you want to hang out with some of our day out folks during those times, email our volunteer coordinator, Cameron. We'll be happy to set you up for that, or anybody else who wants to go help. It's really just sitting down with one of our members, maybe entertaining the conversation. Sometimes, you have to acknowledge that there's some aliens out there to get us, and that's okay to have to. It's a matter of making them comfortable, So it is about the comfort, and it's about giving people that honest presence, especially during those times when programming is already done for them. From 1:30 to 3 is basically just hanging out and, acknowledging their existence and giving some comfort if they want a snack, if they need some ice, things like that. It's what a volunteer in the day out would do. So to sum it up, lunch, special events, and currently volunteer in the day out program is a priority.
Thank you for being here, and I would like to put you on the spot because you brought yourself here willingly, I think, right?
Yes.
I suspect when I was growing up that there were lobbyists in Washington who organized the food pyramid, and there was recently a change in design of the food pyramid. So my question really is about nutrition, and as I understand it, you get your dictum from the state of New Mexico nutritionist, so that the meals you provide are well balanced. And I believe that many times they are a lovely presentation. I've participated in that myself. I do believe, though, that there are new health and medical research pieces of information that we should apply to the nutrition. And I don't know where to get started with that. Do I badger you? Do I go down to Santa Fe to the Roundhouse and say this is not right? Thank you very much.
No problem. So you want to know, the way I interpreted your question is to what depth does the state mandate our balanced meals, and what can we do to make sure they're updated? We are going through an interesting process with our own kitchen. We used to have a chef down in White Rock and one in Betty Hart. The vision has always been to have one head chef so that they could coordinate service and focus exactly on that, right? What does it mean to have a balanced meal? What do we need to meet? What are the requirements? Not just in compliance matter, but it's in cutting edge, can we do things differently to make sure we're meeting the needs nutritionally? But again, the soul matters a lot as well. So we want to feed people things that they like, but they're also nutritious. So you can have a conversation with me, and if you want to point me to the research, and we can, break down the steps, maybe what is next. I suspect a lot of what we need to do is talk to our state-assigned nutritionist who approves our menus every couple of months, so that we can see where those updates fall and what are the things that we need to do to get updated according to those things that you mentioned. So I think we have good news. We have really, we are setting up ourselves to be more mindful of the impact. Again, my vision is not to just serve a plate of food, it's to make sure that we are fulfilling, a human need. People don't just need to eat, otherwise it would be dried food for everybody, right? Dehydrated food. But we also need to feel that component of I'm happy eating this, is nutritious, and I get to hang out with my pals. It's another thing. So I'll be more than willing to set up some time with you. If you want to coordinate with Johanna, she's my executive assistant. She'll be able to lock me in a time that's convenient, and we'll be able to have a discussion about that.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Okay. See if I can remember. So I mostly use White Rock Senior Center. I was coming up here more often, but so I'm usually down there. And I have just volunteered to work at the day out. Volunteer. We'll see how that goes.
Well, thank you so much. Yeah, thank you so much.
Katie's going to help me. I've been coming to lunches almost every day since the pandemic, when you used to drive by and get them.
All right.
So, except I had to cancel today. But anyway, my main question is, since I'm in White Rock, I don't know if at Betty they had descriptions of the new renovations.
Mm-hmm.
So where do we find out what those are and what it might look like?
Yeah, actually, you want to know where to find descriptions of the renovations specifically. The county website has more specific information about the renovations itself. Our communications focus more on where programs are, more programmatic for LARSO. But the county website, you can find a Betty Hart section, and it'll tell you everything that they're doing and all the little rocks that they have to move into some place or another. So that would be the best place. Yeah.
So I have a question about the relationship between the senior center and the YMCA right now. If you go into the YMCA to take a senior center class, are you also eligible to use the other equipment and services of the YMCA? Or as a senior, are you only supposed to head directly to the class that Senior Center is offering?
Okay. Well, just to repeat your question, like I'm supposed to, you want to know if you can use the facility wide at the YMCA while you are exercising your rights as a member of the Senior Center,
Yeah.
right? The agreement with the YMCA is that they would help us with our programming. So if you want to use other equipment, all you have to do is let the front desk of the YMCA know you're signing into their facility. You're not prohibited from doing that. So you can use it. You can use other facilities. We would like you to communicate that, not communicate it, so that we can keep track whether if our members are using those facilities outside of the hours that we predicted and we set up, then the arrangement has to change between us, because we have to pay for a membership, not we, LARSO, but a YMCA member has to pay a fee, a monthly fee to use the facility. So anything outside of LARSO programming would fall under the YMCA membership. At that point, you would have to exercise that membership that you would have to pay on there. But if you're just doing LARSO programming, you should not have to pay, even when you use the gym equipment between 10 and 1 o'clock. All the whole entire gym equipment is available for seniors during those assigned times. So you might have to adjust your schedule, but you still can use it for free during those times.
So I could go in and do yoga with the Senior Center
Mhm.
and stay and lift weights until 1 o'clock p.m.
Yes, that is
Okay,
exactly
just
right.
want to make sure I understand,
Yeah,
because that is actually a huge benefit
yeah.
to people who are members of the Senior Center.
Yeah, no, acknowledge, definitely. Be sure to sign in on the Senior Center kiosk for both, right? So if you're doing yoga, sign in for yoga and then gym, and that way we can, make sure that we keep fair track of all the facility, how we use the facility there, and have conversations with the Y. But yes, if you get there right at 8:30 and do your yoga class, you can go work out.
Okay.
Yeah.
Just also, I'm not sure everyone realizes that it's free to join the Senior Center. Is that correct?
That is.
If you're 60 and over?
Yep. If you're 55 to 60, you have to pay $20 a year, and 60 and over is free. It's a free membership. Yeah.
Thanks, that's great.
And before I give it to my best friend here, I believe that people can make contributions to LARSO through IRAs. I just write it down, and they send it.
Yeah, thank you. They can make contributions, and they're very welcome. We're a 501c3. We are contracted with the county. We are not part of the county administration itself, but contributions are very welcome.
Becky.
You mentioned scatter sites. Where are they and how do they work?
Okay. We have the library, and depending on the program that you signed up for, the library will hold things like the book club. We have a Socrates Cafe, and we have other discussion-based programs that are held in the library. You just show up and go to the assigned room. The front desk at the library is quite educated on where things are held, because we have constant communication of how things are, or if something is canceled, they'll also know when that's canceled. And then we also have, as we mentioned, the YMCA. There's a kiosk for the Senior Center there. You just go sign in with your between 8:30 and 1 o'clock. You are, you can go in and use the gym equipment. If you have a class, you can also take that class at that moment there. We have another similar system at Los Alamos Assisted Living. If you're doing crafts, you have your assigned day and time, and you just show up and walk into the room. There's no questions asked. You just go and check in with your facilitator. And lastly, Fuller Lodge is the same thing. We have a program schedule set up where We have line dance, we have chair yoga, we have movement classes there as well. We have our day out. So you could show up and sign into the kiosk at Fuller Lodge. We also have a kiosk there, and then you can take part of the programming. Yeah.
Okay, one more here.
Your presentation makes me so proud of our community and of the county. My question is, beyond the transition, what do you see as being your longer-term obstacles or challenges?
Wow, I mean, that's what I was working on before I knew we were going to go into this renovation. And it's an excellent question. What is my biggest obstacle that I see ahead of me? It's funding, and I don't like to talk about money, but I have to because that's my first responsibility to LARSO. It is funding to accommodate more rides. We also have a challenge with our fleet. We have to add a few more vehicles, which we work with the county, but it's a lengthy process before we can actually add vehicles. Our staff turnover at our, you would say, line level, service level, is high because we are not paying them what they're worth. That's the honest truth. So my biggest barrier is to make sure that we add funding in a way where we're increasing the quality of employment at LARSO so that we can retain people, and then we can improve services on top of that, right? We have to have the staff well paid and happy, and, you know, their soul fed and their belly fed as well. And then we can start innovating and adding more programs and things that are more meaningful, like more rides down the hill. We're doing about 300 rides down the hill. Up here, we're doing about 650 a month. And so it's quite a task, but we're not fulfilling everything. We get about 20% of our rides we have to say no to because we don't have enough people to do it. We do have some awesome volunteer drivers, which reminds me it's another opportunity, volunteer drivers. But it's sometimes people get discouraged because they have to take somebody at 7 in the morning to the doctor's appointment and won't be able to come back home till like 5 because it's one of those things where you have to go to the labs and you have to do all these things. So it's quite of a heavy service that we provide. Is very necessary. But I feel like if we could maintain our staff and pay them what's fair in the market, then we're probably about 30% below the market. It's it would be really beneficial to grow programmatically speaking. And by the way, I will say this, our contract with the county is coming up. I am trying to be kind to them, but just also acknowledging that there's a lot of resources that we can pull together to make sure that things are being done well for our community. So that contract will start drafting this year and will be due, we'll start over in 2027. If there's any advocates for older adults in the room, you know, maybe attending a couple of the meetings, council meetings, and saying, hey, you know, when you're writing this contract, make sure that we're thinking about people who are underpaid for such a valuable service. Definitely.
Does anyone else have a question? I'll just make this final comment. Thank you, first of all, for coming and inspiring us. And I'm wondering if, and I'm only wondering, I don't know, but it would be a great service in a way for some high school students who are quite mature, many, to be able to do something with another group of people who know more than they do, even though they know more about other things than we do.
Right.
And I don't know, but it seems like the high school might be a source of free help or something, where they could get credit. I don't know how that. I'm just throwing it out there. I haven't thought that through.
It's an awesome idea, and we've had group of high schoolers. What happens is that high schoolers also have a lot of activities, you know, with other stuff. So their commitment might be a week or might be a few days, things like that. But we've had high schoolers come in and do service. it's a mutual exchange with technology where, high schoolers feel, I'm in charge here because I know everything about a phone. And then our older adults get to tell them that, no, that's not true, right? So it gives a really nice environment, but we've had that also as well as a community service.
I would actually think, and you would have to work with the schools to identify those people, but there are many high school kids who are sort of not the popular kids or not don't have other things to do after school. And I think it would give them a place to be something and give to others. Because I think in our society, since I clearly belong to the senior center, that I've also worked with kids, as many of us have, who really don't have anything to do. They're not in sports, they're not in drama, they're not in art or whatever, and so they really don't have anything. And I think it would give them an opportunity. Oh, could you come XYZ, whatever that would be. And you would have to work with the school for that. But
we have a
I think
volunteer coordinator. I think I'll pitch the idea to her. Maybe she can do some recruiting. We'll hang some carrots in the form of maybe some incentive, something that they can find appealing. But I will talk to my volunteer coordinator. She's putting a lot of effort into the labs and other churches, things like that. But I think that she should explore the high school as you suggest, and I'll talk to her about that to see where she can go from there.
Sure, I'd be happy to help you. Although I don't know anyone anymore who works
Yeah.
there, but I did at one time.
Yeah.
And otherwise, Lisa has a question, right? Okay, Lisa, and then we're going to let you go so you won't be as late to your 1
Thank you.
o'clock
I appreciate
meeting.
that. Thank you for lunch, by the way. I appreciate it. It'll be eaten between here and 4 o'clock, I promise.
Just a quick question before you go. Could you talk just a minute about the program that you had that you got special funding for to help elders do repairs to their homes and their yards and that sort of thing? Because that was really great.
Wonderful project. She's asking about a spring cleaning project that 100 Women Who Care financed for us. We went home to home for a homebound sector to help them clean out from, if they had rooms full of things that they needed to do, or if they just needed extra touches here and there. Outside windows, cutting yard, trimming trees, all that. We took the spring cleaning theme, whatever it meant to that person that we went to, that's what we did for them. And we did take a few truckloads of stuff, I want to say, to the dumpster also. And so I think it was an impactful program. It made a difference in a lot of people's lives. We had such a good feedback, and they were also telling me we also do fall cleaning if you don't mind doing that. So now I have some homework to do to make sure we finance that. And the way that worked, I enrolled my own staff and told them, here's the numbers, here's the people. We are trusting folks with them, so contact them if it's over the weekend in the afternoon at your time, at your leisure. That will be a separate payment from what you already get on your regular hours. So our staff were also benefited from that as far as getting more work and more pay, I guess, if you want to see it that way. But it was an impactful program because many of those homebound folks, they live with what they have because they don't have the energy or the physical strength to do it, or the resources to ask somebody to do it. So it was very noble, and we're thankful to the 100 Women Who Care for financing that. They gave us $5,000, I think it was. Yeah.
Thank you all for coming. Thank you, Ramon.
Thank you. Thank you so much.